it's Asia Dang, and today we are going through my 2023 financial goals. This has become one of the favorite videos the entire year, so I'm excited to finally share it with you. If you haven't seen my 2023 life goals video, please check it out in the cards. And also please like, share, and subscribe. We are at the second to the last video of 2022. Can you believe it? Here's my financial goals page. I think next year I may do a financial flow chart, like 4 financial flow charts you should add to your planner or something, because this doesn't really encapsulate everything that I wanted. I think I need to build a few more flow charts. I thought about this one. We'll kind of go through it, but yeah, so far these are my short-term and mid-term goals, my 2023 sinking funds. If you don't know what a sinking fund is, where have you been? I'll put a sinking fund video in the cards, but basically a sinking fund is a method in which you save up for something in advance. I save up for everything from trips to bills to the wedding we saved in a sinking fund. And for me, it's just like a really great way to save up for something without having to stress about it when it's due. And also with the sinking fund, we like to build flow charts just to track the sinking funds. Every time you put money towards your sinking fund, you highlight it. It's like a little fun game. For me, it's my favorite money saving tool. It just makes saving money more fun. It made paying off my debt more fun. All the videos you may need to understand what a flow chart and a sinking fund are, I'll put in the cards above. But let's get to my 2023 financial goals. As usual, I'm gonna write them out in my digital planner just so you can see kind of everything that I've been doing. So let's just go ahead and get started. This is the 2023 Master Plan, digital and physical planner. This page, along with the goal setting page, along with the vision board page, along with the debt overview page, are all things that come within the planner. So let's just get started with the short-term goals. I like to focus on short-term and medium-term goals. We have this long-term lifetime goal section over here, but honestly, your wants and needs and what you want changes throughout your lifetime. So I feel like this section right here is a pretty unrealistic, I guess, ask to write in. So let's just focus on our shorter term goals. So the first thing that we need to save for is our honeymoon. So you all know we did get married this year in September, and we decided to hold off on going on a honeymoon till next year for a couple reasons. One, we just ran out of money to go this year. It's, you know, we overspent on our wedding, which was worth it, but we spent way more than we wanted. And honestly, like mentally, I don't know how people are able to plan both a wedding and a honeymoon simultaneously. I think we were both like spent after the wedding, financially and emotionally. So more power to you if you were able to take a honeymoon directly after your wedding, but we decided to wait. Not only that, but also one of his best friends is getting married in Italy. So we decided that we could just tie that expense in to our honeymoon and just go with the flow, I guess. So his friend is getting married in Portofino, so we'll have to end up in Italy, but what we do before then, we're not really sure. I think our honeymoon, I would like it to be like 2 weeks. I think that's a good amount of time. We'll probably just stick to Europe. And the only other place that I want to go to, if it makes sense, is there's this place in London, somewhere outside of London, but it's the Soho farmhouse. I went a couple years with Bare Minerals, and I just absolutely loved it. It was gorgeous. Brian is a member, so we're able to go, but we need to figure out if he is in fact allowed into the country. But I kind of estimated that we need to save $10,000. I actually don't know if that sounds like a lot or not, considering we just paid about $60,000 for a wedding. So my view on this stuff is sort of skewed. We did put quite a lot of money from our wedding into our home down payment fund, but I decided to keep some aside for our trip just because I wanted to. I pulled $10,000 out of my butt, to be honest. I don't really, I don't know. I think that's more than enough, but we also do like to travel in style. We like to eat really well. We like to stay in nicer hotels, but I do think what will help, and I've never done this before, I've never used points, but I've been hoarding my credit card points because I got a credit card for the wedding expenses, so we have a lot of points on that card, but I've been hoarding those points for this moment, so I think at the very least we'll be able to save quite a few bucks on our airline tickets. But ultimately, the wedding is in June, so I think if we're able to fully fund this by May, we can do that. I think we can easily do that for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you have any recommendations, knowing that our end goal is Portofino, we've already been to Rome, we've already been to Venice, but I like to, like, you know, while we're in Rome, while we're in Italy, I like to travel throughout Europe because we're normally Asia people. We normally go to like Tokyo or Korea. So for me personally, we don't really spend time in Europe just because it's a little far in LA. But yeah, let us know if you have any, like, you have to go here while you're in Europe. Let me know in the comments, and also let me know if this is like a realistic budget. Total with our sinking fund for the honeymoon plus what I put aside for the honeymoon, I think we have about $14,000, $15,000 for this trip. The next thing that we are going to be saving for is Beyonce. Now this is obviously a little proactive because she hasn't even announced a tour, but yeah, I mean, she also hasn't even released visuals for her Renaissance album, but I am planning to save up $1,000. I feel like I won't get like the tickets when they first are released because I just never have, so I would have to buy them second hand. Is that what they're called? Resale. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up having to buy resale tickets, which if it's anything like the Taylor Swift fiasco, will be very expensive, and $1,000 is probably not enough. But I figured $1,000, 2 tickets, I don't know. I don't quite remember how much the tickets were for the On the Run tour, but they definitely weren't anywhere near $1,000. I'm just trying to cover my bases here, just so I can make sure I get a ticket. And anything that I don't end up spending for this Beyonce ticket can go to something else. All right, the next thing on my short-term goal list is start spreading the news. Doom, doo, doo, doo. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. Yeah, for some reason, I've been really like feeling like we have to relocate to New York for a month. I think maybe 2023 might be a little chaotic because we have the honeymoon, our lease is up here, and it just might be a little too much logistically, but I would love to start saving for that. Dun, 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 dun. I have been already looking at like Airbnbs because obviously we would take the dogs with us, and the Airbnb situation is worth more than our rent currently. So that's why I wanted to build a sinking fund for it, so at least we could have money for an Airbnb for a month in New York. The Airbnbs I was looking at, the ones in Brooklyn were $7,000. The ones in Manhattan were $15,000. So we're not even looking in Manhattan, I'm just looking in Brooklyn. But yeah, I think this would be kind of like a October, November situation if it happens next year. I'm just putting it out there. We're just gonna save for it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then hopefully something else exciting is happening. But yeah, I don't know what has been going through my mind, but I've just like been drawn to that. And then of course the other short-term goals are the sinking funds, which we will go through in depth in a little bit. Now for the medium-term goals, we have a home eventually one day, assuming that it is like the market is how it is now. our down payment would have to be $240,000, which is $40,000 more than I was planning to save. But just even looking for fun, I actually had to stop looking for fun because it ended up making me mad. Just here in LA, if you buy a $1.2 million house, it's a renovator. You know, it's a fixer-upper. I'm not in a rush to do that anymore. It's just too insane. Maybe one day things will start to settle down, but I don't know if that's gonna happen in LA. The next medium-term goal is eventually a car for me. I don't think I actually shared this, but I sold Chun-Li. The Fiat is gone. She was dying. She was on her way out. I've had her for 9 years, paid her off 4 years ago, so I haven't had a payment since. But yeah, I just wanted to sell her before she was undrivable. So I did sell her for a little bit under $4,000. So I'm just keeping that in a high yield savings account for now, just to build that up. But I don't know, I put maybe $20,000. So right now we're a 1-car household. But yeah, those are just some medium-term goals eventually. The long-term life goal for the finances is to retire like a spoiled little bitch. Okay, so those are the goals for, more importantly, the next year. So let's start building our sinking fund flow charts. So I'm gonna divide the sinking funds into 2 pages. I'm gonna focus this page on kind of these goals right here. I also had this idea that it would be really cool if she announced her tour and it was during our honeymoon and she was in Europe. I think that would be really cool. So since it's only $1,000, I hate to say only, actually, that's still a lot of money. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So how sinking fund works is you want to obviously, 1, know your end goal. What is the amount that you want to fully fund? And then 2, figure out how long you need to save up for this. Something like Beyonce, we want to save up ASAP. We don't know when she's going to announce. We don't know when the tickets are going to drop. So we just want to have that money put aside immediately. But something for the honeymoon, we still have January, February, March, April, May, probably like 5 months to save up for. So how can you build your sinking funds in order to accommodate those numbers? Let's add Beyonce for inspo. By the way, this is the Soho farmhouse. Look how cute it is. Okay, so let's save up for the honeymoon. So we have about 5 months to fully save up for the rest of this honeymoon. And I think divided by the 2 of us, we'll be able to accomplish that. So, ooh, that's weird. So I'm just going to do 10 boxes, each with $1,000 in it. Perfect. So between Brian and I, if we each put $1,000 into our honeymoon fund, we will have our sinking fund for the honeymoon fully funded in 5 months. And I think as long as I get paid on time, I should be able to do that. Brian has been having quite a successful year, so I'm not worried about him. And then to kind of re-inspire us in case we get bored, here is a beautiful picture of Portofino. Even though I do love my physical planner, this is also why I love planning within my digital planner simultaneously, because I can do fun things like add photos. And the next goal we want to save up for is New York. And representing New York will be Miss Samantha Jones, because of course. I said New York by September, but of course, like, if life happens, but eventually one day I'd like to get there. So let's just divide it by 12, represent 12 months or whatever. Out of all the things on my sinking funds list, if this happens, if it happens, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But what we would do is we do 8,000, because that was the goal I set, divided by 12. And that's about $666. But for me, within my sinking funds, I just like to round up. So we're gonna say 700 a month, or 700 a box. And again, whenever you add money into your sinking fund, all your sinking funds should be in a high yield savings account. People ask me all the time where I keep my sinking funds. I like Ally because not only can you open multiple accounts for free, but you can build buckets. So I have like a sinking fund account, and then I have buckets for my health insurance, my car insurance, my car registration, all that stuff. So I don't have to open 1,000 savings accounts. I can have one account with buckets open in them. But something like my Honeymoon will be its own separate account because I just want it to be. So Ally, I like, it's a high yield savings account. You can open multiple accounts for free. I think people get too caught up in what bank do you recommend a high yield savings account for? It doesn't matter. They're all the same. It's just kind of how do you like to divide your money. I like Ally. People really like Capital as well, Capital One, I think. But literally don't take more than 5 minutes finding a high yield savings account. It does not matter. So those are the sinking funds for kind of the fun stuff. And then here are the sinking funds for the bills. Next, I totally forgot to add pet insurance. Our pet insurance, I talked about this in a different video, but our pet insurance increased by $1,700 for 2023. So actually, this is pet insurance for 2024. Oops, because I had already saved up this year for next year, but we'll have to do a little bit more work this year because of the price increase, which is crazy. So we have quite a lot of time to save up for this. Actually, that's a lie. Our new year, our pet insurance is renewed every November. And the reason why I like to save up for this kind of stuff in advance is sometimes you're able to pay for insurance things in a lump sum and you get a discount. Not for pet insurance, unfortunately, but because this is just such a hefty number, I like to save for it in advance to make sure the boys are covered. And that's with all the insurances that I save for. So $3,400 divided by 11 to mean 11 months. So $309, I like to round up to 310. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. By the way, I know it might not seem like that big of a deal, pet insurance, but after what we went through with Luke a couple years ago, definitely recommend it. This sinking fund is for health insurance for 2024. Yes, this year I saved up for my health insurance for 2023. So now we're saving up for health insurance for 2024. I love to see it. Here is the car insurance. There's 2 sections of car insurance, one for 2023 and then the other is for 2024. Since we're sharing one car, what we've decided to do is Brian is going to pay for the car payments on his car and I'm going to pay for the car insurance and car registration. The reason why we have this section for 2023 is because obviously I wasn't anticipating selling my car this year, so I had already saved up for fully funded my car insurance sinking fund for my Fiat. So the rest of 2023, this right here is just the remainder I have to save up for to complete my sinking fund to equal what I need to save up for Brian's sinking fund for the rest of next year. So this is what his car insurance is, $3,200 total for the year. So we're gonna start saving that for 2024 as well. And then also my car registration for my Fiat was like $200, but his is significantly more expensive. So I definitely want to save up for his car registration. Now, my favorite part is the holiday season. This will be my 3rd year saving up for the holidays, and it just makes things so much more enjoyable. Anytime I put aside money for a sinking fund, what I'll do is just highlight it so it's a fun little game. And then here is our sinking fund for HSA. Up until this point, because we haven't been married, I've been saving up for fully funding my own HSA, but next year we'll be doing it as a family, and I believe the max for 2023 that you can contribute into an HSA is $7,700. So divided that obviously by 12 is $645.83. Again, we'll round that up to $650 and oversave if we need to. I think I'm gonna do a video about HSAs because I don't invest all the money. I keep some money aside into just the HSA account and then invest the rest that we will not touch. And then we have a brokerage account. So I have some like investment accounts. This brokerage account is just something that I throw money in every month. I always just throw $500 into this particular brokerage account. So that way I can just, again, play the game. It's all about figuring out what you can do to force yourself to enjoy the process of saving money. Because saving money inherently is not fun because you don't get like instant gratification on it. Most of these are a year in advance or years in advance for something like a brokerage or an HSA or a SEP that we'll talk about soon. So how can you make this like an exciting game that inspires you and excites you to save money every year? So the next couple sinking funds, we have a wedding next year in Temecula in November, and then you saw the pet insurance. The sinking funds this year might seem a little different because what I stopped doing or what I'm not gonna do this year is save up for the smaller bills like I have been doing. So I used to save up for Spectrum. I used to save up for our gym. I used to save up for stuff like that. I'm not doing that anymore. I did save up for it, but it just gets a little chaotic. So I'm only building sinking funds and actively contributing towards sinking funds that are larger in size, like the health insurance, like the car insurance and the holidays. So that's why it might not look as chaotic this year, but that's because I've significantly cut back on the amount of sinking funds I'm saving for. So I built this janky little chart. I think we'll probably go in and fix it eventually, but these are money goals that we don't necessarily have a time frame for. We don't necessarily have specific money goals we want to put in monthly. This is a chart for goals that we just want to throw money at. So let's say, a SEP, by the way, is a self-employed pension. It's what I contribute to for our retirement versus like an IRA or a Roth, I should say. The SEP and the home down payment are things that I want to actively throw money at because those are important. But instead of it being like a sinking fund like this, where I would highlight an accomplishment or highlight when I deposit money into that account, I would just write the amount of money I contribute into it, you know? So hopefully $8,000, that would be nice. That way I can still track how much money I'm contributing to these funds, but it's not a set amount like the sinking fund. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly, but I can further explain if you have questions. But it's just another way to keep track of what you're contributing into these funds. So we have my SEP, home down payment, car for the future. Crypto, I still throw in a little bit of crypto. It is a down market, so it's really cheap now into ETH. Trips, if you watched my last video about my life goals, I just want to start saving up for places that I have been dreaming about going to. And again, this has no timeline, which is not why it's not an active sinking fund. But I do want to just start putting money aside when I can. We have a 40th birthday party for Brian, 40th birthday party for me. I don't know why, but I've been thinking about my 40th birthday. I'm going to be turning 36 next year, so we have a long way to go, but I want to start saving for it because I want to have a bash. This is actually Brian's goal that I just put in here, but he's been wanting to open something where there's like a coffee shop or a restaurant. So we'll start putting money aside. Those are the 2023/2024 financial goals for next year. I also wanted to give a special shout out to someone actually. She had tagged me in one of her success stories. Shout out to Gabby. She tagged me in one of her stories in which she used a sinking fund to buy a car. She saved up around $18,000 to buy a car flat out. She has no payments whatsoever. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Gabby. Congratulations, that is awesome. And that just goes to show the importance of a sinking fund. You can save up for stuff in advance, big items in advance, so you don't have to worry about financing, so you don't have to worry about money or anything once you buy it. So we love to see it. Congrats to Gabby. Thank you so much for watching my goal setting videos. Again, we have my life goal videos that I uploaded last week. We have my financial goal videos this week. Actually, let's go through. I'm pretty sure I accomplished nearly all of my financial goals this year. Wedding we funded, sinking funds we funded, batch party, dog training, holiday we funded. Yeah, we did good in 2022 as well. So That's that. It might seem really daunting. I mean, I feel like I've been doing this for a really long time, and even going through the process of not only setting my life goals, but my financial goals is incredibly exhausting mentally. But I think it's really important for us to remember that you can't accomplish anything if you don't plan for it. So let's plan for our finances. Let's plan for our goals for next year so we can all accomplish what we want. I'm Asia. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week in our very last video of the year, which is my best and worst buys of 2023. Wait, 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next video. Bye.